Psychonauts 2 may be the most creative video game that I have ever played in my entire life, and I want to tell you about it. Psychonauts 2 was developed by Double Fine and published by Xbox Game Studios. It was first announced in 2015 at the Game Awards, and then finally released 6 years later in 2021. The first Psychonauts was released back in 2005, so the fans had to wait 16 years to get their precious sequel. The first game was considered a failure, even though it was praised by critics and had a cult-like following. Double Fine tried for years to get people on board to fund the project because they had lots of people saying they wanted a sequel to Psychonauts. Eventually, Double Fine did a crowdfunding approach, and they raised $3.8 million. They had other investors along the way from other big companies and studios, and then eventually Microsoft would purchase Double Fine. After Microsoft came in, they were able to pay back investors, finish the game, and release it. And it sold 1.7 million copies by April of 2022. It got nominated for Game of the Year. It did really, really well. It became Double Fine's best-selling game. And even still, I think this game is completely underrated. I remember first hearing about Psychonauts years ago, way before the sequel was ever even announced. Back in high school, people had talked about Psychonauts. I had never tried it. I did have an original Xbox, but I don't know. For some reason, I just never tried it, never picked it up. I think Thane had told me about it, said I'd probably like it because it's a platformer with a little bit of puzzle elements, but it's incredibly creative. I played the first game last year, and it was fun. It took me about like an hour and a half to kind of get into it and get the hang of what was going on because it doesn't really hold your hand. But the second one, man, holy crap. The opening level is just a drop in the hat. Even though this opening level has so much creativity, it has more creativity than most platformers does. It is amazing, and that is just the start of this incredibly creative and fun and wild video game. The basics of it is it's a platformer where you platform around, you collect things, you get different abilities, you level up, you can upgrade your powers. It's super fun. They've expanded upon the abilities from the first one. They've added new ones. They've made better ones. And they're all very creative. They have to do with your brain. That's kind of the overarching theme of this game is you're a psychonaut. You go inside people's brains, and those are like the levels and the worlds that you explore. There's this massive hub world that's really cool and creative too, where you can go around, you collect things, you can talk to characters, do side quests, find secrets, and then eventually do main quests where you talk to characters and go inside people's brains. The collecting is really fun. You can collect these psi cards, which after you collect, I think it's 8 or 10, you collect enough of these, and then you have to collect one of these eyeball things, and then you combine them, and it gives you an upgrade where you can upgrade one of your abilities to make it stronger or allow it to do different things. You've got like this pyromancy ability. You have a psi blast ability where it's like a laser gun. You have telekinesis where you can pick things up. You have levitation where you can kind of ride on this ball or use it as a glider. Like, there's so many good things that this game has, and it all flows very well together. The fighting feels good, too. Like, you've got basic punching and kicking mechanics, but you got the psi blast, you can burn characters, you can pick up items and throw them at enemies. It's so much better than the first game, and I really like the UI as well, too. I think it's a lot better than the first game. One of the best parts about this game, though, has to be hands down the story and the characters. The story is so compelling. It's a whodunit kind of the entire way. And I'm not going to spoil anything as far as the story goes. I thought it was really fun. The writing is charming. There's lots of quirky quips and one-liners that people say, a lot of back talking. I don't know. It's just fun. It's like it's very well written. There were a lot of times where I'd be playing and a character would say something and I'd just bust up laughing because it was all very, quick on the feet, but just well written, man. Like, I don't know, so good. Every character has so much personality. This game, the devs poured so much into this game. From the gameplay to the level design to the music to the characters and the story. It's so good. Listening to characters banter back and forth. Like, there was one part where you can use, I think it's telekinesis, where you can get into somebody's brain, and you can you can see how other characters view Raz, who's the main character, or how they view other characters. And there was this lady and a man talking to each other, talking about like how they were cheating on each other with with each other's spouses. Anyway, that little conversation I thought was hilarious. In this one, you get way more backstory on Raz and his family, which is super cool. In the first game, it's not even really there. I think the dad shows up for a little bit, but it doesn't really matter. Once again, I am convinced that this is one of, if not the most creative video games ever made. Like, it is incredible that you can go from one world where you're in like a dentist's brain jumping around on teeth, to a world full of hair, to like a retro 1970s hippie world where it reminds you of classic 70s music. It's so good, dude. Like, every single level is so good. The devs poured every ounce of love that they have into this game, and every time you enter a new world, you're just completely blown away by the amount of creativity and different things that you have to do. And once again, the tone is set by the very first opening level. It's a tutorial, but it's also incredibly creative. The music slaps. There's so many cool boss designs and levels. The power-ups are great, and the story just keeps getting better and better and better as you play. This one may be contending for my personal game of the year, games that I played this year. Psychonauts is up there. I also played Hollow Knight, and Hollow Knight is borderline perfection. But this game is right there too, right there with it. It's so good. I need to play more video games. I know that Astrobot came out this year, and a lot of people are saying that Astrobot may be one of the best platformers as far as creativity goes, gameplay mechanics, and always keeping you on the edge of your seat. Psychonauts 2 did that for me. Every single corner I would turn, just not knowing what to expect. Every single level that I would jump into, I did not know what to expect. Every single character and encounter, I did not know what to expect. There's one level where you go to this campsite and you're just hanging out with your family, learning more about them, learning about the backstory, learning about the main villain, learning about your parents, learning about why there's a curse on the family where you can't touch water. The devs took the first game. They took all the good parts about it. They took the writing. They took some of the abilities and the characters. And then they made the sequel, which is perfect. This game is incredible. I don't think I have any complaints. I had nothing written in my notes while playing through the game that even remotely bothered me enough to write it down. And maybe there are some things, because let's be honest, no video game is actual perfection. But regardless, this game is so good. Every aspect of it is so good. The characters are incredible. The gameplay is fantastic. The level design is impeccable. It's so creative. This is a game, like, if I had to pick a game that I've played this year that I know most people have not, Psychonauts 2 is a game that you need to play at some point in time. It's on Xbox Game Pass right now, and it's not a long game. I mean, it can be if you're trying to 100% it. I tried to collect as much as I could and see as much of the world as I could. Obviously, there's probably tons more, but I beat Psychonauts 2 in about 14 and a half hours. And once again, there was still more after that, but I felt very satisfied with my time with the game. I at least saw a lot of the main levels and side levels. I tried to do as much as I could. But yes, I urge you, if you have not, and you like platformers, I urge you to play Psychonauts 2. After you play the first mission, you will be completely blown away, and every other platformer you will play, you will be like, oh, well, it's not as good as Psychonauts 2. It's not as creative as Psychonauts 2. It's not as funny as Psychonauts 2. So I don't know. Every aspect of this game works. I love it. I want everyone to play it and love this game with me. So anyway, that's my thoughts on Psychonauts 2. Let me know your thoughts down below if you have played the game. Let me know if you like the game, if you think it's as creative as I've been glazing it to be. And if you don't like it, tell me why. Let me know down in the comment section below. But thank you guys for watching, and as always, keep it rad.